won the Centauri tournament. The run you had since ESWC is by far one of the most impressive ones. You came, at least from my view, I was still kind of new in the scene in 2015, but sort of from nowhere into a second place, and since then you have been up there in the top. You can argue you won later in 2016. You won the World Championship. You can argue that the TMWC you should have won. It was so close between you, Kappa, Twin, and Carl Jr.
Just that final, yeah.
Yeah, and then Games Assembly, the 2 times you attended, you won both. Now the big name steps up to from zero to hero. You win a Centauri tournament. You win. I mean, can you sort of take us through what do you feel? How do you maybe if I ask you this, if you just look at tech events, do you feel like the last 5 years you are the best tech player?
No. If I'd be perfectly honest, probably not. I think there's always been 4, in terms of the last 5 years, there's definitely always 4 outs, like the ones that stand out for sure. I mean, yeah, if you say not me included, 4 as well, actually. But like since 2015, I guess joining Dignitas really spurred me on to like do better, because I joined a team where everyone was regarded as the best players.
Yeah.
Like everyone knew who they were. So that was something that I needed to like live up to. And then 2015 was good. That came out of nowhere. I went into the lower bracket straight away. I lost my first match big time. And who was it again that destroyed me? Tim. Like I think every match I lose, it was spam. Like he really really set the standard for me, and every time I played against him. But yeah, that was a good one. 2015. That's the one tournament I remember every single match. I don't know how, but I remember all of it because it was the first one, and it's sort of very. 2016, the final was such a rough one because obviously we were limited to 60 hertz, so Massa, Carl, punished by that. But I guess it's still reputable to be a world champion. 2017 was a lot of an online year, I guess.
Yeah, it's ZLT.
I couldn't go to Gamers Assembly, and ZRT. What did I do that year? Oh yeah, I went to the finals that year, but I got put against Brent, Carl, and Bad Lulu, so that was impossible. But yeah, Kappa did well that year as well, and then that's sort of when I feel like after the 2018 Gamers Assembly win, for me, because that final Kappa was, I wouldn't say he wasn't on his best form, and then suddenly I guess it wasn't that when he was starting to quit, and then he came back and suddenly became this ultimate, like, I'm going to put all my time into this game sort of thing, practice and learn all the lines, and now he's become like a joke of a player. It's like Kappa really switched on in 2018. And winning the World Championship was just a mad event, I thought, because I struggled big time at the start and then somehow got to the final with Tween. And it was ridiculous, that final. Still remember. I've watched it so many times.
Yeah.
The ending gets me. The ending gets me every time. It's crazy finale of it. I couldn't actually believe it actually came down to that track where Kappa had a major world record on. Tween was also very good. I mean, my personal best wasn't bad, for sure, but I just couldn't believe it came down to that. Like, came down to how close that was. But yeah, another good year. I feel like over the last 5 years, I've definitely had some good events, but I'd still say Carl, Kappa, Tween, and even though he doesn't win many events, I feel like Spam is definitely still amongst everyone. Like if he could, I feel like he's definitely got the technical ability still, as much as anyone. I rate him big time.
Yeah.
But if you want to have standouts, I'd say Carl, Kappa, Tween are still. So I feel like it would be a joint way between us 4, because Tween's beaten me in events, Kappa's beaten me in events that he's played. Like these last 2 ones, Kappa hasn't been able to play. So I don't think you could argue. I mean, you could do the stats if you want. Find out the last 5 years, each time we played each other, who's won. There's definitely a lot of head-to-heads that us 4 guys have had against each other. That would be interesting to see.
Yeah, you give me motivation here. Maybe I should do
If you want a
something
bit of
like
research.
that.
I
But
mean, yeah, 1v1 stats. I mean,
yeah,
who knows?
but if we talk about the TMWC final, you said you watched it multiple times. I watched it multiple times, but I wasn't in that final as a player. Have you looked at the match and been like, "Oh, why did I do that here?" Are you trying to reconnect with why did you do that? Because it was so close. I mean, one turn faster and you would have been a world champion almost.
Yeah, I mean, I've rewatched that last turn a couple of times. I mean, at the time I watched it so much, and I was just looking at it, I was like, there is no way that I could have done it any like quicker than Kappa got it, because he got it as good as you could get, and I don't think I was just hoping for. I took it a bit more inside because I thought if I get the lucky bounce here and land smooth, it's going to be close. But it just didn't happen, so I couldn't do anything then. Tween was on a world record when he beat me on that one, and bug at the end and still beat me. And then Carl was on a 0.4 or 0.5 pace, so he near record pace when he was on his run as well. He was safe to beat me, so it was 3 runs which were ridiculous that beat me. So I couldn't really do anything about it. I was happy how I played in the tournament. I think one thing I regret is on one of the rounds I didn't finish, and that would have been 3 points, which would have meant that I would have been finalist on my favorite track at the event. So who knows? Pressure could have got over me. I wouldn't have done anything on there, or them 3 could have done anything they wanted on that track. So who knows what would have happened if that happened? But I got to live that I came 4th in the best tech final there was. So I mean, it's not all bad news. I don't regret anything in that tournament, and it was one hell of an event that I remember as Kappa being the most deserved person to win, for sure.
Yeah, and as a spectator from that event, I just have to say thanks for giving me the show. I mean, that finally is the greatest match of all time. 4 players that could easily have been the world champion, and people will say, yeah, that is deserved because it was so close. That's the maximum of skill level there. Do you think that maybe that is going to be somewhat of a peak we see? Because now we move into mixed event. Now we maybe have to learn some tricks again, while tech was so polished over the last, let's say, 10 years almost.
Now it's sort of tech sort of hit a peak now. Like every tech event now, the final has been good. Like Zero to Hero, it was good final. Centauri, good final. Like ever since that final in 2018, I feel like every tech event has had a good. GA 2019 was a bit rough, but I feel like each one has had its like standout point, and that will come with the TMGL style track, sure, because it only takes a certain amount of time for you to learn all this new stuff. Like this whole new thing, I guess the first maybe 2 finals may be a bit one-sided or rough in terms of who's scoring points and stuff. But I feel like after the first 2, people will understand how to play this new game and the new blocks that there are. So I feel like it will sort of sort itself out and get to a high level again eventually. But we'll see. I don't know how quickly it's going to take for people to learn these new tracks and like new styles.